If you're tracking your food, you're lifting your weights, you're doing all of the things, and still it feels like you're not making the progress that you really want to make in your health and your fitness, the problem might not be your plan. It might be what's happening up here in your mind. In this episode today, with one of my favorite guests, you're going to see, we're uncovering how emotional patterns like negative self talk, regret, and unforgiveness can create invisible roadblocks and self sabotage that stop women over 40 from truly thriving in their health and fitness journey. I'm super excited about this episode. I had so much fun with my guest, who you're going to see here in just a second. I hope you enjoy this as much as I did. Hello, 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 Olga. Oh my gosh, Olga, you know how excited I am to have you back on the podcast. Welcome to the show, girl. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you, Anna. Hello,
We only
everybody.
just went through a million issues having to do with sound,
Yes,
but we're doing good now, right?
yes, but Anna is also so patient
Oh, well,
because
thank you.
I had quite a few technical difficulties.
What else? What other option do I have? I've been told I'm very patient. This is very interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I don't
appreciate
know.
your patience.
Thank you. In some ways, I don't think I'm patient, but thanks. Um, so today we have a wonderful topic that we're going to go over, a few topics that's pretty impactful, that helps us with our health and our fitness from the inside out, which is the most powerful,
Mm-hmm.
most powerful stuff. But the reason I brought you on to the podcast episode today is because, well, you're a nurse coach, and you specialize in coaching women, right? Not just anybody.
Yes.
Typically, women who are struggling with alcohol and
Mm-hmm.
helping them to overcome whatever difficulties they're having when it comes to their life and the involvement of alcohol. But a lot of this is just the same for just about any kind of a thing that we're working on in our lives with our health and our fitness and habit formation and all that. So today we're going to talk about what these three things, big topics: regret. We're going to talk about, well, that's not going to be negative self talk. This is the order we're going to talk about in a minute: negative self talk, regret, and unforgiveness. But before we do, I would like to introduce you formally, Olga Geisler. Please, if you
Yay!
would, and this is very informal. You know how we do things around here. This is just like chill. We're kicking back, having a conversation. But one thing is, if you don't mind, could you, I don't know where you're looking at me, but can you move me on your screen in a place where you're actually looking at the camera more? Because I want
Aww.
our audience to see your beautiful face and
Okay.
smile.
Okay.
We worked on our sound, we worked on our headphones, our microphone, but we did not work on how we were looking at the camera.
Yes,
Okay,
definitely.
now I see your beautiful face facing us. Okay.
Okay.
Tell us about you, Olga.
Well, thank you, Anna, for that beautiful introduction. And now I'm going to look into the camera and imagine your face there.
Thank you.
Thank you for helping me with that.
Of
So,
course.
my name is Olga Geisler, and I am a certified nurse coach. I love coaching women around alcohol because I believe that that one habit, can ruin so many things for us. And whether you want to stop drinking altogether or reduce the amount of alcohol you're consuming, I would love to help you with that. Yes, that's what
Yeah.
I do. I specialize in
Yes.
that.
And because you have your own personal story that's very powerful. We won't go into that, but I just want our listeners to know that you're not speaking from just as a nurse and a nurse coach, but you're speaking from a place of truly experiencing the transformation of coming out of your own, you know,
Yes, I had.
struggle of alcohol.
Yes,
So,
yes, definitely. I during pandemic, I developed a habit of drinking wine like it was my job after my job.
mhm.
Every day I would have 1 to 2 glasses, sometimes three, depending on the day. And I was also eating as well, and it was all to numb my feelings, kind of manage my emotions, and relieve my stress. And I believe that alcohol really helped me relieve my stress.
Yeah.
And I found myself 30 pounds overweight and just really unhappy with myself. And I just was so tired of feeling just sick and tired every day.
Yeah.
And I would wake up every morning feeling, what is wrong with me? And
Yeah.
I didn't know how to manage any of that or how to get out of that
Uh-oh.
hole. And I I did. So that was 4 years ago. And I left all of that behind and became a coach myself. And I just love helping other people figure this out,
Mm-hmm.
because the way I do it is very different than AA or anything else out
Yes.
there, because I have a space where it's safe to talk about whatever you want to talk about. And I'm also a nurse, but I also do not have any shame or blame. I don't believe that person is to blame. I think it's just a habit.
Yes.
We learned it, we
Yeah.
can unlearn it, and I
Ah,
can help you
I so
unlearn
agree with
it.
that. Over the
Yes.
top 115, 20 million percent. Um, so I hope that my sound is still on. It does. I have my microphone disconnected when you were talking. Olga, and you said you were working, you were drinking alcohol like it was your job after your job. And so I just want to make sure everybody knows that you are a nurse and you do work full-time overtime. You are actually a charge nurse in charge of other nurses, and you do all the things. So I just want to just make sure everybody knows, like, you're actually actively working as a nurse and caring for patients and helping other nurses care for patients. And you do a lot at your workplace to help communication, to help people with their personal growth, which I think is amazing and beautiful. So I'm so thankful for knowing you. Hey, by the way, can we just tell everybody why the beautiful accent? Because they're probably wondering, oh, she has an accent. Why does she have an accent?
Yes, I am originally from Belarus, so I speak Russian as my first language.
I love it.
And but I've been in United States for 23 or 24 wonderful years.
You still have
Most
this,
of my adult life,
and you
but I speak with my sister all the time.
and you
So
still have this beautiful
accent is
accent.
there.
It's
Yeah.
always so fun to talk with you, and y'all listening. Just to give you some background, I know Olga because, gosh, I don't keep track of not when I stopped drinking alcohol, but I don't know
Hmm.
when it was. It's probably been a couple of years now. I feel like we've known each
Yes.
other a long time now. I
Hmm.
went into a chat room on in Facebook, and I was just curious, trying to, kind of curious about my own alcohol use and how I felt like I didn't know if I want to completely stop drinking alcohol. I was experimenting with quitting and all of that. And I had put a post in there. I don't even remember what it was, but you responded to my post. And that day we connected and talked forever. I'll never forget that day that we met and we connected like instantly. So
Yes.
you have played a tremendous role for me. You were just the person that kind of helped me see things in a way that I hadn't seen before. And so you have a very special place in my heart and in my life, Olga. And I'm super pumped because you're going to come and visit me in person in June this summer. And I cannot wait to see you in person. It's going to be
Yes.
wonderful. Okay. So speaking of that, I know we're kind of not procrastinating. We're just taking some time getting to our topics. But I want to say, because when this episode drops, it's going to be Monday, April the 28th. And the following day I'm traveling. I'm going to be leaving town, heading to Dallas to take a flight overseas to Spain. So when this drops on this Monday, right now, y'all are listening. I'm preparing to leave town. So you might want to follow my stories on Instagram, because I'm going to be sharing quite a bit over there in Spain to
Oh, I'm
visit my
going to.
family. It's going to be my family, my mom's side of the family. Well, she is from Spain. She has nobody here. She's an immigrant. I mean, legit with a green card still. And she couldn't go because of her health. She's afraid for her health. So she's staying behind, and I'm going all by myself. So that's what's going on here. Update: Country Boy is going to be he's definitely going to be missing me, but I know he's going to be so happy with the thermostat at some kind of hot degrees without me here. For 10 days he's going to be in a hot house. And I was like, whew, good for you. He'll be glad for that. But other than that, yeah, we'll miss each other. So that's my little update. I just wanted to share with listeners and our Rockstar ladies. So now we're going to talk about this. The reason we wanted to talk about these topics, the negative self-talk and regret and unforgiveness, is because these are like some hidden toxic emotions, feelings, and programmed thoughts that we have in our mind that a lot of women are not aware of how it's truly impacting our health, our fitness, and just how we approach our overall wellness in life. It's huge. And when we can become more and more aware of these things, we can actually do some things to change them. And so as we go through these things, Olga, you and I have already discussed how we're going to talk about how it's impacting women, and nobody is immune to this stuff. I think all of us have this stuff, and there's still stuff we work through. No matter where we are on our personal growth journey, we still work on these things. But then we're not just going to say, here's the problem. We're also going to try to give some suggested help, some ideas, some tools to work through some of these things. But the idea here is that these are real, and I think that when we can get a handle on awareness and start working on the reprogramming of our mind, it's just going to be so freeing and helping us to really, really improve our health and our fitness, truly from the inside out. So with that, the first topic we want to talk about is negative self-talk, which I know is a big issue with many, many women. And so I want to just hand the mic over to you, Olga, and you were talking about this together. We were kind of talking about it, and I'd love to hear your perspective, your experience of what you've noticed. You had an experience yourself, and you also were noticing this in some other people that you work with and other people that you interact with. So go right ahead.
Yes, thank you. I love this topic. So one of the things that I did not understand before is that shame and blame and that's negative self-talk that most women have. I'm not sure where we got this from. I kind of have an idea, but it seems like it's universal. That I think for me, I was always taught not to speak positively about myself because it was almost like narcissistic if I did.
Mm-hmm. Like
Can
bragging.
you relate to that? Like I am.
Yes.
Like, oh, like you're so full of yourself,
right? Yeah.
You know, like you're so selfish if you do that. So the normal way to talk to yourself was negative.
Yeah.
I think even my parents spoke negatively to themselves and about themselves. It was very easy, like, and you can see it everywhere. You would see, I used to act like this. I would drop something on the floor and I would be like, oh, that was so stupid. Or I would go to the grocery store and maybe I forgot to get something on my list, right? And I would get to my car and I'll be like, oh, what an idiot.
Oh my goodness.
Just a couple examples,
yes.
Right? And I also thought that if I would scold myself, it was almost like I was motivating myself.
Mm-hmm.
It was beneficial. I will push myself to do better next time. But if you really think about it, when it comes to habits, and let's say alcohol, because that's my favorite topic, right? In our society is like, you need to drink to be social, to be normal, right? But then not too much because you don't want to overdo it, right? But you don't really have any ability to control how much alcohol you're actually going to have once you start drinking. Most people can't really regulate that. So, but then the next day, person wakes up after having maybe 3 glasses of wine instead of one, and the first thing, almost like first thought that would go through their brain is, oh, I did it again. What is wrong with me? And then they would scold themselves in different ways. I don't know. Anna, do you have experience like that where with negative self-talk, scolding yourself
Yeah, I
after you did something wrong?
oh yeah. I mean, that is not something that I deal with today, but yes,
Yeah.
definitely in my past.
Hmm.
Yeah, with alcohol too. Actually, probably a crazy thing that a lot of people don't know about me is I struggled with cigarettes, smoking cigarettes off and
Hmm.
on for 14 years, off and on.
Hmm.
And that was an addiction in my young adulthood. Okay, starting in like when my teen years,
Hmm.
and I had this hate, like frustration with myself. Like, what is wrong with
Hmm.
me? Why
Hmm.
can't I stop this?
Hmm.
That's one that, yeah. And then the alcohol, because I remember too, um, you know, regulating the amount of alcohol that I would drink, but there were times that I drank more than I wanted to. And the next day I had regrets for it. It would be
Hmm.
like the negative self-talk would be like, oh, it would be, we can go into the regrets later, but that was when I would feel regretful about it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a minute. But
Yes.
yeah, of course. And I think everybody does. Even to this day, I don't really struggle with this, but when I hear myself once in a blue moon, I'll have something that
Hmm.
might come up, and then I catch
Yeah.
myself right away.
Yeah.
I've reprogrammed my thinking. But yeah, this is a
Yes.
big deal because I wrote some things down I didn't want to forget to mention
Yeah.
is that
Hmm.
some of the ways that negative self-talk can derail us from our health and our fitness is like um it makes you feel like you don't have the ability to succeed. It
Hmm.
also kind of goes into the whole all or nothing thinking, which is big
Hmm.
because we think
Yeah.
I messed up, so I may as well
Hmm.
just quit.
Yeah.
Um, it reduces our ability for resilience,
Hmm.
and because we just feel like a failure, so we don't even want to come back and try again.
Yeah.
These are just some things that I had written down I wanted to just mention. So any of those
Yeah.
kind of things.
Yeah.
And it
So
blocks our self-compassion.
yes.
The self-compassion is not there. It's like
Yes.
non-existent, which is
Yes.
a big thing that we need for, like what you were just saying. You were just saying how the self-compassion wasn't there, and you motivated yourself with that negative self-talk. Like you felt like you were
Yes.
beating yourself into submission and to do the right
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
rather
Hmm.
than giving yourself the compassion.
Yes. And in our society, this is so normal. It's considered to be a normal behavior.
Mm-hmm.
But if I do it to somebody else, if I take my child and I start acting like that with my child, everyone would be shocked. But if I will say, I'm my worst critic and I have, like, I'm just so hard on myself, people will say, that's good. That's good. Good job,
Right.
Olga.
It's kind of like a badge of honor that,
It,
you're so hard on yourself. And
yeah, but
it's
yeah,
not. It's not a good thing to be hard on ourselves.
yeah, but let's like dig into this behavior just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm waking up in the morning. I am really hard on myself. I am saying that that was stupid. I was stupid. What an idiot. I can't do anything right. I'm berating myself in one way or another, right? And next thing, what happens? How does that make me feel? What kind of like emotions does that behavior create in me?
Yes. And yeah,
Positive
yeah.
or negative?
Right. And you know what? That's energy. We're
Mm-hmm.
not going to get away from this conversation without talking about energy.
Yes.
Energy is everything. I mean, everything
Yeah.
is created by energy. And so, yeah,
Mhm.
it's going to stir up that negative energy
Yes.
and negative
What do
emotions,
I
all of those negative
yeah.
emotions.
What do I look like? What do I feel like? What do I look like? And how am I talking to other people? Do I have compassion, kindness in my voice, or am I irritable and grouchy and grumpy and probably hangry, right? because I'm judging myself.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
being very negative to myself.
Yeah.
Like, just think about it. How does that make me feel? And how do I make others feel when I feel that way?
Yeah. It's
Right?
true. Yes. When
And
we feel
then,
a certain
yeah,
way about ourselves, that's
hmm
going to be projected
it will.
outside, externally. Yeah.
That energy that you're talking about, exactly,
Mm-hmm.
it will be that irritable, angry, kind of
Mm-hmm.
on the edge,
Sure.
right?
And
Because
and
I'm, yeah.
and Olga, it's also it's not, I mean, I know you're passionate about talking to women who are struggling with alcohol, but this is also for women who are struggling with beating themselves up for, they didn't
Anything.
eat healthy. Like they just
Yes.
trashed their diet the day before, or they've been trashing their diet all day and they just keep
hmm
on doing it. The all or nothing. Well, I've already screwed up, so I may as well just, now I'll go ahead and eat this and that. And
Yeah.
then they're angry with
Yeah.
themselves, and that's projected out as
Yeah.
well. So that's this
Yes.
negative self-talk. It's not even like we're thinking these thoughts like I am this. It's an emotion. It's an
Yeah.
emotion. It's not necessarily words, but they are emotions in play. That are this negative emotions that are happening.
Yes. But first, there are some thoughts, there are some feelings that create that emotion.
Mm-hmm. The thoughts.
And,
Yep.
it's interesting when you said, oh, I already screwed up, so I'm just going to continue, right? So, what if we'd done that with something else, right? Like, I had maybe a fender bender with my car, and
Yeah.
there's a little bump there on the car. And I'm like, you know what? Forget it. I'm just going to drive it into the wall,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Like, that sounds ridiculous, but that's what we're doing with our body. We feel like we already, like, that's it. I'm
We
just
can
gonna
come up
go
with a lot of
trash
those
it.
funny things. Like you have a little tiny little drop of marinara sauce on your blouse. Well, I'm just going to take the whole glass of wine and pour it on myself.
Yes, let's do it. So, and, and bringing humor into that, when you catch yourself, when I catch
Yeah.
myself doing something like that, I can bring humor into
Yeah.
it,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
It's a
So,
big deal. All or nothing
yeah,
thinking is huge, and it's all over the place. It's everything. If
yes.
I can't show up to the gym and get my
hmm
entire workout in, I may as well not go.
Yes,
May
yes,
as well not.
exactly.
If I don't have 30 minutes to go for my walk today, I may as well not go.
Yes. So, I used to be really dramatic in my own head with all of that. And I would be the one who I would eat maybe a brownie. It's like, well, I already had one, so I'll have two more. And honestly, the funny thing is, when I really started digging into my behavior, that habit with alcohol and soothing myself with that, in the end of the day, I realized that really for me, it wasn't ever alcohol itself. It was actually food. And alcohol just gave me permission to eat. It was when I realized that, it was my biggest aha moment. So it was never about the wine.
So
Wine
are
was
you
not the
saying
thing.
because the alcohol kind of like you just kind of lose your inhibitions,
Yes.
you don't really care, that kind of a
hmm
thing? Okay.
And I would eat and eat and eat all evening long. I would
Yeah.
like eat dinner and then, oh, some chocolate. I will eat that. Then
Yeah.
like, oh, some cheese and meats and some
Yeah.
crackers.
Yeah. I'm already on
Sound
a roll.
amazing.
On a
And
roll.
then I'm sitting there. And then between the wine and the food, I would drink lots of water because I'm a nurse and I understand that
You need to stay
alcohol gets you
hydrated.
dehydrated and such. So I'm drinking water.
Oh
So
my
I'm
gosh.
sitting there at
Yeah.
the end of the day like this aquarium, swollen, full of food and water and wine, and
Oh.
trying to
I'm
chase
not
my
laughing
tail.
at this.
Yeah, you're
It's an
laughing with
issue.
me.
I've been there. I know. I'm a nurse too, so I know we're drinking water in between our alcoholic drinks to
But
make sure we
and
stay
then
hydrated.
and then I would beat myself up and have that self-talk,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And thinking that something was wrong with me
Right.
and judging myself, but nothing was ever wrong with me. I just never knew how to cope with my feelings, emotions, with the stress of the pandemic, with the
Yeah.
stress of nursing in pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
with being scared every day.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
didn't know how to soothe myself. It was like a adult form of pacifier,
Mm-hmm.
like that
But
eating and
right.
drinking.
Let's talk about the root of this, because you mentioned this early on when we started talking about it. I mean, it's easy to say, let's forget about why it started or where it came from. Let's just work on it. But I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of value in kind of gauging or looking back on the history of our lives and finding there's places that came from. And I think it's
Yes.
okay to look back and not to create, fault or blame or be a victim, but just know, because then you can know, like, I know where the self-criticism came from in my life. I know the people that helped program that in my mind. Now I'm not, angry at them or anything like that, but I know where it originated.
Yeah.
And isn't it kind of healthy to kind of just know, because
So healthy. Oh
just
my
so you
gosh.
know that it's a real
Yeah.
thing that was programmed at a certain time and it's not you. It's just been programmed in your
It's
brain.
never you.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest lesson, biggest message that I think both of us have
Yeah.
for anyone who is listening to this.
Yes.
It's
Especially because
not
they think,
you.
because one of the self-talk things that I've heard, oh my goodness, so many times, is women believe that they are a failure. That is
Yes.
something they think, I'm a failure. I didn't follow through. I'm a failure. I just can't do this. I am not this. I'm not that. All of these things. And this negative self-talk is also plays into, when women say things, that are, they're self-limiting beliefs. Basically, those kind of things too are the negative self-talk, whether, it's, I can't control myself when I eat sugar. I can't, they say these things because we those words that we say are very powerful. Like,
Yes.
your words, you create your reality with your words. So to say,
Yeah.
whatever, I can't control myself with sugar. I'm addicted to food. I'm addicted to carbs. I cannot, whatever it is, you say these things and it's coming to pass because you create your reality. And I know some people get mad about hearing this, but it's really the truth.
And I didn't get that before, but I was doing that. I used to even describe myself
Yeah.
as I am just someone who loves
Yes.
brownies,
Oh,
Chinese food, and red wine.
yes. And
Just
so you
love
created
it.
that. You created that. Yeah. Me
Yes.
too. It'd be like, I I have to have beer when I'm at the beach. Like,
Have to.
the beach, the beach and beer go together, girl. Like, we create this stuff for ourselves. We're creating that reality. So the beauty of this is, or the good news is, that we can reframe it. So let's head
Yes.
that direction. Let me probably beat that
Yes.
down too much.
Let's do it. I just really wanted to kind of talk about what does it look like when we have that negative
Hmm.
self-talk and
Hmm.
how it makes us feel and
Yes.
what kind of results do we get from that,
Right.
because we really deeply believe that it's beneficial, and I
Yeah.
had clients that would push back on that. They would
Ooh.
really just push back, like, no, it's helping me, like, this is who I am, this is how I work. And I'm here to tell you, if you ever said those words, this is who I am, this is how I work, you might not like what I say right now, but I'm saying it with all the love and kindness in my heart, because I used to say that too.
Yeah.
This is not how you were born.
Yeah.
This behavior is not innate to you.
Exactly.
Olga, as a baby, was not born criticizing herself,
Right.
talking badly about herself and to herself.
Yes.
Never. She was happy.
Mm-hmm.
She was performing with fake microphone, and she was dancing in her living room and singing and all of that, and laughing at herself with everybody.
Right.
That was me, and that was you.
Mm-hmm.
Remember yourself as that child
Yeah.
who did
Yeah.
not have self-talk that was negative. So this is
Right.
not who you are.
Yeah.
This is something you learned. And
Right.
because you learned it,
Mm-hmm.
the greatest news ever,
Mm-hmm.
you can learn something
Yes, you
else.
can. You can learn something. You can reprogram. And these are
Mm-hmm.
all coming from beliefs. And just like you just said, Olga, we are not born with beliefs. Beliefs are
Mm-hmm.
programmed into us. So we always need to stop, take a step back and look at this. Negative self-talk is coming from a place of self-belief. Because what we believe, right, creates
Mm-hmm.
our actions and our behaviors and all that kind of stuff. So it's so interesting to me that, like you said, you've had clients that have said, this is just who I am. Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
know people, I know family that say, this is just who I am. which is such
Mm-hmm.
a fixed mindset, which is really doing
Mm-hmm.
you, it's not a service to yourself.
No.
So it's great to open our minds to understand that the truth is, and the truth will set you free, that you can reprogram your mind and you can recognize these beliefs that are holding you back. That's exactly what they are. And to
Mm-hmm.
have negative self-talk, there is absolutely zero. There's no benefit at all.
No benefit.
It is not
No.
benefiting at all in anything in your
Mm-hmm.
health and your fitness. So
Yes.
what we need to do is to recognize it, this voice,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
like redirect it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all, the hardest part is to be aware, right? To remember to be aware,
Mm-hmm.
because we are always saying like, you have to become aware. You have to become aware. But the hardest
Mm-hmm.
part about being aware and mindful is to remember to be aware and mindful.
Yes. And one of the things, seems like a small thing, but noticing when you're doing it, like you said, having the awareness, noticing, like, even if you like drop something and you like, oh, shoot, like, oh, that was stupid. If you said that, don't judge it. Just say, oh, I just said that. How can I reframe it?
Mm-hmm. So
How can I be
removing,
kind to myself?
yeah,
How can I develop having a cheerleader or a coach or my best friend
yes,
talking to me instead of the critic? How
right,
can I just have somebody who is like a coach? I love coaching. Coaching has changed my life. Coaching mindset is amazing. You can become your self coach while once you learn all these different
yeah,
things, and hopefully with the coach, because that will save you a lot of time and a lot of suffering.
yeah,
But the point is, if you decide, and it's just a quick decision,
yeah,
decide what will serve you better, having that negative self-talk,
mm-hmm.
being having that critic with you, or having like a little cheerleader like
Mm-hmm.
Anna on your shoulder.
I'm
You
right
drop
there.
something and you hear Anna say, it's okay.
Oh, you dropped that.
You dropped that. That's so
That's all.
normal. That's so human of you. That's okay.
Jumping like it's hot. I'm just kidding.
That's okay. And then
Yes.
how do you feel if you say that? How do you feel when you say that?
It feels,
Think about that.
it feels, it's relief, right?
Yes. You're like, oh, you feel so good. You almost, like, if you imagine that, take a second to imagine that.
Yeah.
Anna, your little coach, saying, it's okay. It's okay.
Olga,
You're
the little
just
coach.
human. Yes. Just having that. It's your best friend talking, not a critic.
Mm-hmm.
And then the thing is, when you feel bad, which criticizing yourself will lead to that, what do we do when we feel bad? We're either hiding or like numbing with something. It could be alcohol, it could be food,
Yeah.
it could be I'm just sitting on the couch watching Netflix and numbing out
Yeah.
while probably eating and drinking,
Because
possibly.
we want to
Some
avoid
people,
that. We want to avoid these
yes,
negative
we run in because
emotions.
we feel so bad,
Mm-hmm.
but that behavior created that. And hear my speech here, what I'm saying, my language that I'm using. I didn't say I created that. That behavior created
There you
that.
go. Yeah.
But I can change my behavior
Right.
and I can do something different. I can create better emotions that will keep me from needing to numb out.
Yeah.
That's where the whole thing is about self talk.
Mm-hmm.
Kinder you are to yourself,
Yes.
better you're going to feel at the end of the day.
Yeah. To remove.
Pandemic, pandemic,
Yeah. No
nursing,
matter what it is.
maybe you're a stressed out accountant.
Mm-hmm.
It's tax season and maybe you made lots of mistakes with taxes and you're buried in all of those.
Yeah.
But if you feel yourself, if you make yourself feel better, that behavior, or you will create something else. Like you create how you feel.
Yes.
That's what my point is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was just thinking, we were talking about, this is a lot longer on this particular topic than I thought we were going to go, but I think the next two things we talk about kind of tie into this as well. But let's not forget how so many women have negative self-talk when it comes to their body.
Mm.
right? I mean, this is a
Mhm.
big one. And so, and we have to reframe these things. And this is one of the things I say a lot to our clients is you're not your body. Okay. Your body
Mhm.
is your vehicle for life, is your gift to take care of. And the better we take
Mhm.
care of our body, the better it serves us. And rather than saying what other, I don't even want to begin to come up with the words and things that women say about their bodies, but
Mhm.
rather than saying those things, we need to say, I am taking care of my body. I am a woman who I believe in taking care of my health and my fitness, and I take actions, and my body is doing its best today. Like, really celebrate what our bodies do for us, and that you are not your body, but you are improving and taking care of the body that you have. And I think
Mhm.
that reframing this so that we can disconnect emotions, it is just the facts. That's it. And this idea of this negative self-talk and feeling a certain way. The other part of this, I want to move on to the next topic, but I also just want to really um, remind all of us how impactful and the power of the people we surround ourselves with. And if we don't have anybody to surround ourselves with, the peer group, I talked about this in a couple of episodes ago, the power of a peer group, that we can surround our people around people who don't do that, who will remind us how wonderful we are and how we need to talk, kindly to ourselves and gently with ourselves and have self-compassion and self-care. And if we have none of that, then
Mhm.
we need to seek out somebody, a coach, because a coach will help remind you of these kind of things and give you an outside perspective and make you think of things you never thought of before, to help pull
Mhm.
you out of that so that you can make progress even faster. Because anytime you have a coach, you're gonna be having progress by leaps and bounds compared to trying to do anything new or improve on your own, right? Because if we're working on something, we're not the expert, and having a coach is really important in that way. A coach or a therapist, if it's, even a therapist. Anything else you want to talk about on negative self talks before we move into regret?
I just want to echo what you said about hiring a coach, finding a coach, becoming coach yourself, with time, and replacing that critic with a coach.
Yeah,
But really become curious of your self-talk. Listen to yourself, to your thoughts, the way you're talking, and then
yeah,
curious, how does that make you feel? And observe other people, and very fast you will see that you're not alone in this type of talk. People all around me talk this way all day long.
yeah,
And it's devastating to see,
yeah.
because I know what the impact of it is.
Yes. But we know also the thing to look forward to is
Hmm.
how awesome it is when we do transform our language about
Yes.
ourselves. It's transformative. And when we truly, truly find this place of self care, self compassion, kindness towards ourselves, it is so freeing, and it just spills over. Our cup overflows, and we have this new way that when you love yourself, then
Hmm.
that just happens naturally to show that same kindness and compassion and love and care for other people. It just comes naturally when we can first do that for ourselves. I mean, I
Yeah.
know people say, well, I can do this for other people, but when it comes to myself, I'm really hard on myself. But I
Hmm.
often question how real that compassion and care is towards others, in a lot of ways. I don't know. I can't judge people for that. But I do know that when we find that in ourselves, we're able to give that freely in a real and genuine and sincere way towards others.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and we were talking about this yesterday, I think, how I can do that even if somebody has done me wrong or is ugly towards me or just isn't being a good human. I have a place of compassion for them. I know a lot of people don't understand that, but I really believe it comes from a place of self love and realizing I'm not any better than anybody else, and I
Hmm.
can love myself in this place of imperfection because nobody is perfect.
Yes. And separating your worth and yourself from your behavior,
Hmm.
because that's so different. And staying away from any type of labels like I'm good, I'm bad because I did this or that. Just I am who I am. I'm just a human. I'm trying my best every single day. And I know for a fact that every single day, every morning you wake up and you trying your best. With
Yes.
information, resources you have, you do your best.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just give yourself some kindness. And also, once the self talk improves, and it, like, you don't need to, maybe you're not ready for being really loving and super kind. Just try not to judge it, like, be neutral.
Yeah.
Just, it's okay, I dropped glass of something and now I'm washing my floor.
Yeah.
Look at that, my floor is pretty clean now. That's
One
it.
little
It's
thing at
not
a
bad or
time.
good.
And
Yeah.
man, this goes on. I have so many thoughts about it still. Like, if somebody is resistant to this type of thought process and thought pattern of change, um, if we want real change, we have to get the ego out of the way. There's
Hmm.
not going to happen. That's not going to happen with that ego in the way that wants to protect self-importance,
Hmm.
protect
Yeah.
self, and all of that. So I know that's another thing. So why don't we go ahead and get into this topic of regret?
Hmm.
That was
Yes.
something. What was it about? Well, regret, it keeps us
Oh
mentally,
my
it keeps us
gosh.
mentally tied to the past, and it creates these chronic emotions of stress.
Yes. And I think it goes with that negative self talk, because negative self talk creates that bad feeling. We covered that, right? We don't feel good when we have
Mhm.
that. We kind of on edge. And now, if we have regrets, and I had a lot of regrets, I didn't realize how many I had, but I did. I had regrets from 20 years ago, from even my like youth, some things that I did that were not great.
Yeah.
Like, I judged that and I carried it with me.
Yes.
And that made me, that those regrets added to the way I felt every
Hmm.
single day.
Yeah.
So there's negative self talk, there's all these regrets, and nobody ever explained to me how my brain worked, how my emotions were generated, and how I could manage them.
Right.
Nobody ever said
That's
any
not
of
something they teach
that.
us in school, Olga.
Y-
There should be
exactly.
classes on this kind of
So,
stuff.
and it's not my fault. It's not your fault that you don't know. So,
Yeah.
and think about this. When you felt bad throughout your life, what did people do? Do you want something to eat? Do you want a drink?
Yeah.
Do you want to go out and eat
Let's
and
go out to
drink?
eat. Yeah.
Yeah, do you want that? Because that's what we learned
Right.
to cope with stress, with life.
Hmm.
We learn to eat and drink. So it's not my fault. It's not your fault. There's nothing wrong with you
Hmm.
or me
Yeah.
or Anna.
Yeah.
None of us. Like, we just don't know. We learned that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So when we talk about regret, regret is optional.
Yeah. It
It's
really is.
optional.
It
It's
is.
like, and the other thing is the situations, the circumstances that happened before that led me to have regrets, they cannot make me feel anything. Okay? Just stay here with me. Okay?
Right. Right.
Only how I judge those circumstances and what
Yes.
I think about it, what meaning
Yes.
I give them,
Right. I'm
will
right here.
create the regrets and will create me feeling bad about it.
Absolutely. What you make it mean,
What I make
basically.
it mean. So
Yeah.
when I didn't know that I had the power.
You got the power.
I
Yes, girl.
didn't. I just walked around with all
Right?
this baggage
So much power
from my past.
when we can
And
choose.
I was almost like atoning my for my behavior at times. Kind of, have you ever done that?
Oh,
Where you just
yeah.
being goody goody,
Oh,
trying to
yes.
do everything.
Oh, yeah. To try to atone for it.
Yes,
Yes.
in a
Yeah.
way. Like, I was
Yes.
bad then, but now I'm so good. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to run myself into the ground, say
Right.
yes
I've
to
got to
everything.
I've got to pay for my sins.
Yeah, even go to the gym for 3 hours at a time, just in case, for good
Oh, I
measure,
know. Oh,
and
I used to
starve
do that.
myself
Yes.
for a little while
I'm
too,
going to
and
run
then
extra
binge at
miles.
night.
Right. I will run
Yes,
extra miles, you know.
yes, where
Yeah.
I can't even sit down in the toilet without excruciating pain.
Yeah.
And then I would take Motrin and stop going to the gym for a few
Yes.
days or more
Yeah. Well,
because I did that. Hmm.
we were talking about, well, I want to just say real quick, regret. Can't even tell you say it. Um, yeah, we just do these kind of things whenever we feel this regret, and regret is a very toxic thought process that causes these negative emotions, and these negative emotions then cause negative behaviors and actions,
Hmm.
and they keep us from following through with the things we say we want to do, which is take care of
Hmm.
ourselves. But I love the power that we can take. We have the power to take it back. But those regrets, especially when I reflect back on the times that I had regret, it was typically like
Hmm.
some things that I did, some behaviors, some actions I took when I was under the influence of alcohol.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so, like the next day, it would be total negative self talk, lots of regret, um,
Hmm.
and just like, oh, I wish I had not have done that. Like, oh,
Mm.
this could have happened. It could have been so much worse. Thank God, all these
Mm.
thoughts, right? Like, I haven't even thought
Hmm.
about that stuff until just now when we were talking about it, because
Hmm.
we were talking yesterday about how I don't have any regrets for anything in the
Hmm.
past, but I did immediately following some of my behaviors back then.
Hmm.
So you want to talk about how do we prevent having regret? Remember, we talked about
Yes, I love this. And this is kind of, it's so easy in a way, but nobody told me how to do it before.
that. Hmm.
But I was telling Anna yesterday, I remember the moment I learned this. It was 5 a.m. I was walking my dogs and I was listening to a podcast, and it was about regrets and shame.
Hmm.
And I literally stopped. I stopped walking. I paused it. I rewinded it and I listened to it 5 times because I needed to understand it. I was like, wow.
Tell us the
So,
premise.
yeah, so he said, what happened, happened just the way it was supposed to happen. It couldn't have happened any other way because it didn't.
Yeah.
What happened happened just the way it was supposed to happen. It couldn't have happened any other way because it didn't.
Right.
I spent years, decades, agonizing. What if I did this? Why didn't I do that? Why did
Hmm.
I say that? Why did I do this?
Hmm. Yeah.
And then I would judge and create meaning that I was bad.
Yeah.
I was flawed.
Yes.
I was a
Yes.
bad, I don't know, girlfriend or bad mother or
Right.
bad wife or
Yeah.
bad sister or bad daughter. Like you name it,
Yeah.
I thought all of that about all these different situations. I was stuck in the past, reliving my life,
Yeah.
and I had a lot of trauma in my life, and I carried it with me and I analyzed it. I was
Hmm.
ruminating on it,
Yeah.
thinking coulda, woulda, shoulda, and why did I?
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I learned that I didn't have to do that, I could just understand that it's in the past and it couldn't have happened any other way. I was shocked. And then more I started learning about the topic, I was listening to different books, podcasts, and then coaching school. And somebody, one of the books, they were talking about when we say things like, oh, I should have done it this way. Oh my gosh, I should have said this.
Hmm.
It's almost like, let me just compare it to something. If I sat here and I would tell you, oh my gosh, Anna, Hitler, Hitler killed all those people. He did such horrific things, and I did not stop him. I should have. I should have stopped him. I should have warned everyone. I should have saved them all. Right? You would look at me and like, are you okay? You can't. It's already happened. Olga, it happened a long time ago. You can't really go in the past to do any of that, right?
Yeah.
You would think that I'm a lunatic, probably, if I sat there and talked about Hitler, right? Or some other war that already happened. But when I'm talking about something that happened 10 years ago, and I would be like, oh, I should have blah, blah, blah. We all think that it's normal. But it is not. It's in the past. I don't have any power to go back in time and change it or say something differently or did something differently.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting here punishing myself, agonizing over something that's completely as unchangeable as Hitler.
Yes. Yeah.
So when I look at it this way, it really helps me understand that past is in the past. And the only thing is for me to understand that my brain is always listening and I'm always learning. So what did I learn from this circumstances? Like whatever happened in my life, I can look at it and like, what did I learn there?
Rather than what would I have done differently? Rather than what would I have done differently?
Yes, exactly. Because that doesn't make any sense.
That's regret.
But if I think about it, what did I learn?
Yeah.
How did I grow?
Yes.
And then when you reflect on any of your negative experiences, which I've had a lot, and I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when I think about them, all of them individually, because you kind of have to process everyone individually if it's on your mind and you're thinking about it. And the therapist, coach can help you with that. And when you are looking at the situation and finding connection between that situation and something in your life that's good now because of that situation, that's where true freedom is hiding for you, where you feel just it feels amazing. And this is where the work is. And most people will not do the work. Most people,
that's big. Most people won't
believe this is who I am, this is how I am, take it or leave it, that's it, this is how it is. But if you're listening to this podcast, if you follow Anna, you're not most people.
Yeah,
you're a special
something is different
person.
Yes.
So and you can do this work, and when you put those regrets behind you, I am telling you, my life from 4 years ago where I was so disappointed, heartbroken. I had a successful career, and on surface, I had successful life. I'm married, I have 2 children, I have 2 dogs. Everything on surface looks good. And I've never was one who was calling in sick, or it didn't affect my behavior did not affect my work and such much on surface. It made me feel terrible every day.
Yeah.
So, and what I'm trying to say now, I feel at peace. I feel just relaxed. I feel happy. And there's more work to be done. And I am doing a lot of work. I have the tools now, how to do it.
Yeah.
And I just love them. So I will share one more thing that I want to talk about regret is we can also prevent making more regrets. And that is huge for me. And I do this every day. I practice every day. Is I never say I should have done it some different way. Like when somebody says to me, Olga, what should we done differently? I can always tell, like, this is what I always say. You can rely on that. I will say nothing. We couldn't have done anything differently because we didn't. Because it already happened. But what we can do now is we can examine the situation, reflect. learn from it, and decide what we're going to do next time. It's
Mm-hmm.
always about next time, never about going back in time,
Yeah,
because we don't have
absolutely.
that power.
Right.
And when you focus on preventing the regrets as well, it is magical.
Yeah. Beautiful. I was thinking about that conversation we had yesterday when you asked me, do I have regrets? Or
Hmm.
no, you said, how did you get to this point where you don't have regrets?
Yeah.
And I can't really, I don't really like, I can't pinpoint exactly when it happened. It's just a process of self growth and learning over time. But I can
Hmm.
honestly say the reason I don't have regrets is because all of the things that I've experienced in my life, all of the experiences, the good, the bad, the tough, the hard, the everything is what has made me the person I am today. So without
Hmm.
those things, I wouldn't be who I am today, which is very powerful and very empowering because for a long
Hmm.
time I was angry and always felt like if I would have had different parents, if if
Hmm.
I would have had the right upbringing and guidance and mentorship and parenting, can you just imagine where I would be today?
Yeah.
I mean, I used to think this
Hmm.
not too long ago. Like
Me too.
all of the things I've accomplished and achieved in spite of all of that. Think if I
Hmm.
had great parents, what
Yeah.
would it have been like? But then it's like, you know what?
Hmm.
That's that's a lie. It is
Hmm.
it's an untruth because
Hmm.
the truth is I wouldn't be the same person.
Hmm.
Who knows? I can't create that. But we do
Hmm.
what we can with what we have. And I look back on everything, even the fact that I even had a moment in the gym a few months ago where I just stopped and it brought me to tears because I realized that who I am today, you go back into history and you think about like for myself, like my mother talked, smack about my father. They divorced when I was like 5 or 6, all of my
Hmm.
life. What a horrible person,
Hmm.
all these things about him. Why should I be saying this on the podcast, right? I'm an open book. But I started to have some deep gratitude and appreciation for him because he brought
Hmm.
my mother here from Spain.
Hmm.
And wow. And then I thought, and my mom after the divorce didn't take my sister or myself back to Spain after the divorce. She stayed here so we would have a better life.
Hmm.
Wow. Who would I have been if she had taken me back to Spain? Like this is why I'm who I am, like to be
Hmm.
so grateful for even all of the hard things I've gone through that has
Hmm.
created the person that I am today.
Yes.
It's freeing.
Yeah.
It's peaceful. So can
Mm.
we talk about a couple, maybe what do you have some suggestions, recommendations for somebody who wants to move past having regrets? What would you
Hmm.
say? Like, do you have some ways we can move past it?
Yes. Number one thing is understand that having regrets, it's almost like drinking poison every day, a little bit, in small quantities. Regrets make us feel bad. It creates negative emotions. It leads to negative behaviors, like we mentioned earlier, like numbing out in some way or another. And for some people, it just, a lot of shopping or social media or whatever else. But when we do that, we're kind of missing on our life. We're sort of not here. Like I remember myself, I lived in the past thinking about regrets and things that I should have done differently. I can't even say it anymore. Or I would be in the future, anxious, thinking, oh, what's next? What I didn't do. And I would be like between the sadness of the past and anxiety of the future. That was my life. But
Mm-hmm.
on the surface, I looked fine. I was smiling, regardless of what was going on in my head. And it was like a hurricane or tornado most days. So no wonder I was looking for something to escape with. So I really want you to look at regrets and then decide What do you want? How do you want to feel? Because you decide how you want to feel.
So
And
if
then if
somebody
you,
says, I want to feel at peace, how
yes,
do I do that, Olga?
I would highly recommend working with someone, but if you really don't want to work with anyone, then I would recommend reading books, um, um, maybe finding a therapist, and learning everything you can about regret.
And
Library is full of books
yeah.
that you can read. Hiring somebody could just get you straight to where you need to be and address everything that you need to know quickly, especially if you're ready to do the work. I would really recommend to hire someone.
Hmm.
I did not know where to go. I was so stuck and I had a tornado in my head. I came to the point where I said, enough. Like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I need to find another way because I don't like the way I feel. I don't like the way I look. It's not me. I'm looking in the mirror. I don't even take any pictures of myself because I don't like the way I look.
Yeah.
And I did not like the results I was getting.
I think
So yeah.
you also, you did give a tip earlier, just um, where the feedback, just
Hmm.
choose to look at the situation, what to learn from it, and to not be, we don't want to be dwelling in the past. It's really true that the
Hmm.
more, when we continue to focus on the past, we get more of that. We get more of those feelings and emotions. So just to
Hmm.
be aware. And I think mindful practice is huge. It's been huge for me for the past few years, having even just 5 or 10 minutes each morning to just reflect and to be at peace and be in myself and my mind and my thoughts and intentions for the day, those kind of things.
Hmm.
Um, and focusing rather than the past, but focusing here in the present, because like you
Yeah.
just said, living in the past creates certain emotions, and then living in the future also creates uncertainty, anxiety, or can. And so
Hmm.
rather than that, all we really have is the present. So to
Hmm.
stay present and do the things today that we can be proud of tomorrow
Yes.
and the next day. And also, I think one of the biggest things we can do in this area is like gratitude, appreciation.
Hmm.
Anytime I'm feeling down and out or whatever, anything, and this is beyond regret, but gratitude is a tool that will pull you out so quickly, thinking about all the things to be grateful for, all the things we appreciate, the people we appreciate. And suddenly it changes how we feel and the emotions and how we want to show up with love and guided with love.
Hmm.
So we're man, we're like already an hour, girl, talking. We haven't even touched on the next topic of unforgiveness. So we're not going to be able to, unpack that one. But I think it ties in to regret, because unforgiveness of other people, holding on to resentment, can really drain
Hmm.
us emotionally and physically.
Hmm.
But even unforgiveness towards ourselves. And,
Hmm.
but I don't, we're not going to really be able to unpack this. But I wanted to bring this up yesterday when we were talking. I said, I think this is a great topic. So I'm just going to touch on it. Do you have anything else you want to say about regret? I think we nailed that one pretty hard.
Yes, just be curious what you can learn from situations
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just be kind.
Yeah.
Like try to give yourself as much kindness as you would to anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I think that sometimes we
That will go
will
far.
treat strangers better than we treat ourselves.
Yes. Yeah, it
So
will go
yeah.
far.
Hmm.
Like I say, unforgiveness is a whole other topic. We probably should have done a podcast on each one of these instead of trying to put them all in one. Um, I just want to say that all of these things really do impact our health and our fitness, if we're being honest. Because when we are living in a negative state, we don't have the positive energy flowing through us that makes us excited and fulfilled for life. And And so I think it's important to recognize when we're unforgiving towards others, but especially when we're unforgiving towards ourselves, because it brings that negative self-talk, negative emotions. And that's not fuel for taking care of ourselves. It just fuels us to do more self-sabotage, more self-destruction, and those kind of things. But unforgiveness, we know, is toxic towards others, or towards ourselves. When we hold on to that, I know, firsthand people in my life to this day, for years, ever since I've known them, where they hold on to unforgiveness towards others, and it's doing them so much harm in their life, really, and their feelings of their life and who they are. So that's a whole nother thing. I know we're not going to be able to get into all of that, but if nothing else, if somebody's listening and they feel like they're harboring unforgiveness, I just want to bring that to light, and just to say, you don't have to hang on to that. I want to just encourage some thoughtfulness towards how it's really impacting us in a negative way, because holding on to that unforgiveness is just, it's toxic. It's poison to us. Do you want to say something about that, Olga?
Yes, I just want to say that sometimes we think that if we forgive someone, we're letting them off the hook.
Yeah.
And there's no hook. I don't know who created that imaginary hook. There is no hook. Okay. And we all trying to do our best. Let's face it, there's some people in this world, there is, some chemistry off in their brain, and they are just not okay. But it's a very small percentage. Most of us try really hard to do the best that we can every moment. And some days I'm better than other days, right? And so is everyone else. And we make mistakes. Human beings make mistakes. This is how we learn.
It's a mistake.
So forgiveness is something that will set you free.
Yeah.
And like with anything, like negative self-talk or resentment or unforgiveness, or like maybe not exercising, anything at all, like when you look at that behavior, think about, how does that make me feel?
Yeah.
Good or bad? Like, do I feel wonderful and at peace, or do I tense up and I'm irritable and angry? Right?
Yeah.
How does that make me feel? Do I want to change it?
I've heard people
because
say
I
that
have
they're
the
glad.
power.
I've heard people say that makes me feel good. They deserve my anger.
Yeah, but you look little
I've
tense.
actually heard people say this. I'm like,
oh wow,
I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to feel that way.
Okay. Well, as a nurse, and Anna is a nurse as well, we both can tell you, it will.
Yeah.
Like, I just imagine a person who says that. I can imagine their muscles, like,
can you imagine their blood pressure?
Blood pressure.
Their cardiovascular system.
Yes. It is not very healthy.
No, it is not. It's very dysregulating to the nervous system, which causes inflammation, which causes illness. It really does. If we want to get really blunt about all of these emotions and negative energy, it truly is, I believe, the source of most illness. It really is.
Yes. And negative emotions, if I feel angry at times. I allow all of my emotions to surface.
Yes.
I feel angry. I don't stay angry.
Yes.
I feel frustrated.
Exactly.
I don't stay frustrated.
Right.
So it's all about not staying there.
Yes.
You choose. I can choose. I can suffer, or I can live in a beautiful state, like Tony Robbins say. And it is my choice. And I know that. But those are the skills that you can learn. Yeah. It's not something that most people do.
Yes.
But again,
most people.
You choose. Are you most people? Or you want to be somebody who is actually successful and feel good?
Yeah. So we'll leave it with a couple of tips here on unforgiveness. I wrote down some things. Processing the emotions. I think all emotions need to be processed. But like you say, don't stay there. But I think it's healthy. Like, you're not a bad person to experience your emotion. That's natural. That's human. You have emotions. All of the emotions are important. They teach us something about ourselves and about the world around us. But yes, processing those emotions, even maybe journaling, sometimes journaling things out. Or if you want to write a letter to somebody and then just burn it or throw it away, you have actually processed through those emotions. I think that's very healthy. I'm talking it out with a coach, a therapist, a friend, getting that out of us, because it's that toxicity that's inside and we've got to let it out. If you need to cry about it, feel it, let it process. It's just very unhealthy to hold all of that in, and it is making us ill. I really do believe that.
It's been proven scientifically.
Yeah, right. It's research.
Yes.
So, and one other last thing that I'm going to say about unforgiveness, and I believe this in my heart of hearts, and I know some people that get upset about this, but this is how I feel about it. I just don't think somebody can do the worst thing in the world and I have a place of compassion for that person, because I'm no better. It doesn't even matter. We're all human and we're all fallible. And I don't believe that anybody is any better than anybody else. And just understanding that I have my own shortcomings and everybody does. So if somebody has done something against me or to hurt me or to harm me, which I have had that, how I process that in a way of forgiveness is I know that without forgiveness, I'm harming myself. It's holding me back with all those emotions. But also, when I look at the person who has harmed me, hurt me, or done things, whether it was intentional or not, it still can happen. And I think to myself, they just aren't capable. If they were, it would be different. So holding them to a standard that they are not able to do or take, even this whole thing like, oh, they didn't even ask me for forgiveness, so I'm not forgiving them. I will forgive before anybody asks me for. It's already there. Not waiting for somebody to ask for forgiveness. Just release yourself by offering that.
Yeah.
And again, I want to just reiterate what you just said, which is very powerful, and we all need to remember this. Forgiving somebody that has hurt you or done anything against you does not mean it's okay. It just means you're releasing it for yourself, like for your own
it's
healing.
All about me.
It's all a healing thing for yourself. It doesn't make it okay, doesn't make it right, but the forgiveness aspect of it is just going to help you release it. And all of this, negative self-talk, regret, unforgiveness, all of these things, the whole reason I wanted to have this podcast episode was just to bring to light how these things really do impact our health and our fitness. And it's really, really true. You can see, Olga, you can probably think of countless patients coming through the hospital that you just can see. You can see based on all of the disease process they've been through, all of their conditions, medical conditions, all of these things, these illnesses that they've had. And these things don't just happen. All of a sudden they came to the hospital because they have a problem. It's been building up and it's been developing in their system, in their body, year after year, decade after decade, and has evolved into illness and disease and sickness. And this is it. It's important for us to recognize how important our emotions and these things impact our health and our fitness.
Yes, definitely. And knowing that I have the power within me to influence how I feel. And I'm going to have all of my emotions and I'm going to love all of them, because I truly believe that emotions are part of life. Without being sad, I'm not going to appreciate being happy.
Right.
Like, imagine myself if I woke up and I was just happy all the time.
Right.
Like, at some point,
how is that
would
exciting?
Be it would not be exciting. It would be a life that nothing happened.
Yeah.
I was just, and as much as we think we'll like that, imagine I'm happy all the time. And then I went to the doctor and doctor said, hey, like, you need to make these changes because, maybe you have a disease. But why would I do that? I'm already happy. I don't need to change. I'm just going to continue. Right? Because I don't have the emotions that will kind of stimulate me, like a little bit of anxiety about it. It will stimulate me. some curiosity, right? Or, for example, in my family, maybe there was a tragedy. We lost someone or a pet, and everyone is sad, everyone is crying. And here I wake up, la, 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 right? Imagine that kind of life. I can't connect with
No.
any people. I don't
Yeah,
have
that's not
empathy.
reality. That's
I'm
not
just
real.
happy. I'm like that Barbie from the movie, if you've seen it, right?
That's not
That's
normal.
not life.
No, life is
All
going to have
emotions
all
are
of it. All
okay.
of the emotions are normal.
Yes, they're all normal.
It's all
And
part of it.
they make our lives so much more beautiful and colorful.
We can
We appreciate
appreciate.
things more.
Yes.
Yes, and like Anna said, when I forgive someone, it doesn't mean that what they did was okay. I am forgiving them so I can change how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say, like, I forgive you and I hope you have a good life. Doesn't mean that I need to have this person in my life. I can forgive them and let them
Yeah,
go.
because when we have that unforgiveness, we're holding on to the past.
I'm holding on and I'm thinking, oh,
That's
I'm
not
gonna like make them pay or punish them. But that person, like,
it's not doing anything
uh,
to them.
no, it's not doing anything to them. It's just doing something to my blood pressure,
Yes.
to my hormones,
Right.
to my
Right.
quality of life. And I deserve better than that.
So what are we going to do?
Yeah,
Negative
just
self-talk. Turn that around. I do this inside of our membership. Anytime in group coaching, we are going to get braggadocious and work on it. It takes practice.
it takes
Just like
practice.
anything, you need repetition, repetition, repetition. Practice that. Listeners, ladies listening, you are beautiful. You have so much potential, so many amazing things inside of you. Let's celebrate that. Everything about you is unique. There is nobody else like you. Nobody else has your talents, your thoughts, your amazing gifts that you have been given. Just get braggadocious and get braggadocious about every little win, every little thing that you're doing to take care of your health. This isn't a competition. This is not a comparison, thing.
Mhm.
This is about celebrating that you are taking action to take care of the body that you've been given, to work through these things that you've been holding on in the past and let them go so you can be free to live your life and be fulfilled. And yeah, get braggadocious. I love
Yes,
that. It's okay. There's nothing
yes.
wrong with that.
And it will take time.
It takes
It will
time and
take time. It
practice.
takes practice, just like riding the bike or any other skills, like playing piano. Just remember, catch yourself if you're saying, this is who I am, or I am someone who. Be very careful what you attach to the end of that sentence,
Yeah.
because that will come true.
And Olga, one more thing you mentioned was the feeling. Again, you said this throughout this whole episode about the feelings and
Yeah.
the emotions. And so it's easy to say, well, I'm just going to do these things. I'm
Yeah.
going to just do this. But we really need to have these things happen from the place of our emotions and our feelings. And we also discussed this idea of who you are, who are you? Who are you becoming? That's the person we want to tap into. You're meant
Yeah.
for more. You are becoming more. The best version of yourself, the highest version of yourself. Think about who she is. Think about her. Who is she? Who is she really? Because you were meant to live out the way that you were meant to be the higher version of yourself. And to be thinking about that as your identity. And I love this. I learned this from one of my mentors and I'm sure this came from probably Tony Robbins or, these big mindset people. But this concept that so many women have backwards about, like, you have to do these things so you can have this, so you can be that. And it's all backwards. Or you need to have this so you can do this and then be that. But really, we need to turn all of this around and be the woman. Be the woman you were intended to be. The highest version of you. Show up as her and you can't lose. You showing up as her, sorry, you automatically do the things that she will do so you can have the life, the health, the fitness that you desire, that you deserve. You know,
Yes.
that
And this,
identity is at the top of
yeah,
all of this.
yes.
Just
And this
be.
is why I love talking with you. And I just love coaching and coaches. Because in coaching, one thing that separates coaches and therapists, for example, if I go to see a coach, the belief for coaches is you are whole. You have all the answers within you, and
Yes.
we're gonna help you dig them out. We're gonna
Yes.
ask you powerful
I
questions.
love it.
We're gonna empower you
Yeah.
because you have all the
It's
answers. You're
true.
so amazing.
It's
You're
true.
beautiful, and we can see your ability, and we believe in you, right? And some people never even had that. I know that I had a little bit of that growing up, very little. And then thankfully, I got married to a wonderful man who did believe in me more than I ever did.
Oh, I love
And
that.
he pushed me to, like, oh, you're the smartest person I know.
Oh
You
my
can do
gosh.
it.
You sound like
And
country
he would
boy.
say things like that. And
Yeah.
I really struggled with self esteem, my body image, regrets, past, ugh, you name it. I
That's
had it,
coaching. That's coaching.
right? And coach does that, right? They don't see you as broken.
No.
They don't give you diagnosis. But then when you go into a therapist or a doctor, or you go into psychiatrist, you come
Yeah.
in, they will say, what symptoms do you have? You will say your symptoms, and you will leave there with, oh, Olga with diagnosis of anxiety, or Olga with diagnosis of substance use disorder,
We need to
or
fix it.
we need to fix
We need to
it,
fix
and
something's
she's
wrong.
broken. You're leaving that office feeling like something is wrong.
Yeah.
And this is how our medical system is set up. We need the diagnosis so we can treat a problem, right? So there's a lot of things wrong with that. I can be the first one to say that, because if I have something like diagnosis of substance use disorder in my chart, that will stay with me forever and ever.
Mm.
And I don't want to tell you not to go to a doctor or therapist. I want you to go, but I do want to differentiate between doctors and psychiatrists, psychologists, and coaches, how different that is. And both are completely confidential, right? And sometimes we need medication. Sometimes we need more than coaches can offer.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are high functioning, high achieving, successful person who created a habit that no longer serves them, or trying to find a way to exercise that makes sense for your life, and you want it to be in a structured way, you want to see results, you want support, you want guidance of a coach, then you need to hire a coach for success. But I just wanted to kind of put it out there because I didn't understand what is the difference. Who are those coaches, and what do they do?
Yes. Well, I think of it like a coach is, you're playing this game of life and
Hmm.
you're playing, but are you losing or are you winning? And
Hmm.
play to win. And have a
Yeah.
coach that's on the sideline cheering for you and helping you and giving you strategy and believing in you. That's
Hmm.
what I think of when I think of a coach. They're
Yeah.
like, you're doing the work. You're doing amazing.
Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
hey, I saw you do this. How about try this?
Yeah.
And just believing, sometimes helping you believe in yourself and seeing your potential. That's what a coach will see. They see your
Hmm.
potential. They see the blind
Hmm.
spots. They see things you don't see, but they are encouraging you and helping you dig deep and see your potential on your own and helping you get those wins, because every time you win, you're increasing that self-belief, you're increasing that confidence, and you're becoming a VIP player, girl. You are
Hmm.
winning. You're going to play the game, then you play to win. That's what I think of
Hmm.
when I think of a coach.
Yes, for sure. Yes. And honestly, I cannot tell you how much I love you, and I
Oh,
love
Olga.
talking about all of this
We'll talk forever.
because
This is why this episode is going
yes,
so long. Okay, we're going to
yes.
wrap this up.
Okay.
Y'all, I just want to say thank you so much to our listeners for just your dedication to listen to the podcast, our show every week. This is your show. And thank you. Thank you for showing up once again. Thanks for listening to us talk on these topics. I really do hope there was some some great nuggets in here that helped you or helped you reframe some things for yourself. Olga, before we close up, do you want to tell us how our listeners can find you? And you coach, you might have a couple of open spots coaching women who may be struggling in the area of alcohol. So if that's you, there's no shame in this. If you want to reach out to Olga, tell us how they can find you. Where?
Yes, you can find me on Facebook, Olga Geisler, or you can join my Peak Wellness Revolution group.
That's
Facebook
a free group, right?
It's a free group.
Peak Wellness Revolution.
Yes.
Okay.
And my schedule is very busy. I have 2 spots, and I only work with women who want to do the work, and we take shame, labels, all of that out of alcohol.
Yeah.
And it's just a habit, and you can really lose it if you want to.
Yes. And do you have an email you can go out, or just find you on Facebook?
Facebook, I think, would
is
be
the best way.
Yes,
okay. Yeah, and you can find it in the show notes. You'll find her name, and we'll go ahead and put that in there, finding her on Facebook too. Olga, thank you so much. I appreciate you so very much for being on the show again today. You're amazing. All right.
Thank you.
Well, as I always like to close, self-care, self-love every day, all day, every day, all day, in every way. Rock on.